Hi, welcome to Bead Sisters. I'm Kay and I am so glad that you found me. We are sitting next to my little window here in the craft room. The leaves are beautiful. I'm going to turn, I think, just a little bit and maybe you can see. Let's do that. Look how pretty that is. Oh, that red. Well, I can't point to it that way. The red that you see there is an October red maple. I had a piano student give that to me. Her family ran a nursery and they gave that to me many years ago. It's been transplanted at least once, maybe twice. So it got stunted a little bit, but it has been growing so well lately. I just love that tree. It's gorgeous. It was pretty in the spring and summer too, but just gorgeous in the fall. So how are things where you are? Are you doing well? I need to just jump right in because I got a ton of things to talk about, and I am leaving on a jet plane tomorrow to go to Omaha, Nebraska. So let's get started. Hi everybody. Can you tell the lighting has changed? It is many hours later than when I recorded the first part of my podcast. The lighting is actually much better now. It's cloudy, so that probably helps. So really quick, let's talk about the challenge and the giveaway that Jennifer of Real Knitting and I are running together. We got to talking over the last week. I heard this information from a different group that I'm in, totally unrelated to knitting. It's a kind of organizing, decluttering group, and Cass of Clutterbug, she's got, I think she may have a book. She's had audio podcast for a while. She even did some shows for HGTV, and it was her 10-week challenge, which started a week and a half ago, something like that. And it was stuff like lose 10 pounds or declutter 10 spaces or get rid of 10 bags of trash or something. But the idea was to carry you through the end of 2022. Well, we are not doing a lose 10 pounds, declutter so many spaces kind of challenge, although if that is your choice, you may choose that. We just want to challenge ourselves a little bit as we finish out 2022. This is very low key. You choose your own challenge. So if you want to run 5 miles a day for the next 9 weeks, you do you. But if your challenge is, I haven't been reading as much as I'd like, I'm just going to commit to reading 5 minutes a day, every day. That's fine. If it's you had to have surgery last month and you can't really do very much, but you have cookbooks that have been sitting unused on your shelf, just read through the cookbooks. That could be a challenge, but just something to push yourself just a little bit and get you in good space to start 2023. So we're hashtagging 2023 countdown. 2023 countdown. And what we're going to ask you to do is declare your challenge. And honestly, if it changes partway through, we're on the honor system here. We're going to trust that you're doing something to challenge. If what you started off with doesn't work, that's okay. Switch to something else. But to enter, what you need to do is comment on my podcast and head over to Real Knitting. Jennifer is the host, and comment on her podcast. So that's all you have to do. It doesn't cost you a thing. Just comment on both, and hopefully each week you'll comment on both podcasts, and we'll encourage each other through this challenge. Jennifer is giving away I think a class. She is in the process of doing a yoga for makers, yoga for knitters. Anyway, an online course that you can take. It'll be a paid class, but she is going to give away one of those. I am going to give away a bag, which is can until you can't, and a skein of yarn in my mason jar colorway. So this will be the prize from me. And I really hope that you will join us. I think it's going to be fun. If you head over to either beadsisters.com or realknitting.com and sign up for a newsletter, we promise not to abuse your information. You can get this free printable. How cute is this? So it has 2023 Countdown Challenge. It has our logos on it. And this is your habit tracker. And look at the little canning jars. Aren't they cute? So you can write down what your goal is, and you can check off each day that you accomplish some part of that goal. It could be knitting related. It could be, I'm going to knit 10 minutes a day, or I'm going to knit, keep saying 10. I'm going to knit swatches each week. I'm going to do a little swatch of different fibers, of different stitch patterns, but it can be anything you want it to be. So I would encourage you to go over and check out her podcast. Her latest one today is October 28th. It's the one that dropped today. Go over and check that one out. Leave her a comment and leave me a comment here. And I'm just so excited to be working with her on this and hearing about how you are going to challenge yourself just a little bit. Don't get stressed about it. Just a little bit of a challenge for the rest of 2022. All right, everybody, back to our regular programming. First off, last weekend was SAFF, the Southeastern Animal Fiber Fair. I had a booth, so I was there the whole time. The first thing I did, which is kind of my tradition, I go in super early on Thursday and take classes. How many ever classes I can get, 1 or 2 on that day. I can't really take classes the rest of the weekend because of my booth. So I go in on Thursday. This year was no exception. I left about 5 a.m. and drove up, got to Asheville like 8:30-ish. It's not really a 3.5 hour drive, but stopping for gas, stopping for a break, and then getting through traffic and all that stuff. So anyway, I took 2 classes and I'm so excited to tell you about it. First was ice dyeing. The shirt that I am wearing, I will see if I can get it so you can see it better, is from Wax On Studio, and Jessica Kaufman is the owner of Wax On Studio. She taught the ice dye class. I just dropped my piece of paper, so I'm going to grab that, and I'm surrounded by stuff to show you. So hang on, let me grab my paper so I don't forget stuff. Okay. First was the ice dye class, and the process is you lay out your, whatever it is you're going to dye, if it's a garment, if it's yardage, whatever. And it's similar to tie-dye, the way you would arrange it. So you can twist it, rubber band it, mush it, whatever you want to do. So that part of the process is similar to tie-dye. Oh, and you soak it first in a soda ash bath. So water mixed with soda ash. That is the it's like a mordant that you would use for plant fibers. So if I'm dyeing wool, then I need an acid. For plant fibers, cellulose fibers, you need a base. So anyway, soak it in that first and then arrange it in a flat bottom plastic tub. Then you cover it with ice cubes. Completely cover it with a layer of ice cubes. You then take the dye powder and sprinkle it on top of the ice cubes. And the way it works is that as the ice melts, it gradually deposits the dye throughout your item. The thing that is particularly fascinating about this process is that if you use a dye that mixes other colors to create a new color, so if you had, let's say, green, yellow and blue make green, so they're going to be yellow pigments and blue pigments in it. If you're wanting to do a solid, then you need that evenly distributed throughout your dye bath, and you need it to strike evenly, so adhere evenly. Ice dyeing gives you the opposite, so that those colors will break apart as that dye sinks down into your fiber. This happens with acid dye, with protein fibers as well. So it's just a matter of whether you want the dye to do that. A lot of commercial dyes that you would purchase, like from Jacquard, no, Dharma. Dharma's the company, they carry both. A lot of the protein fiber dyes will do the same thing, and it's just how you apply it as to whether you want that to happen and cause that to happen or not. Let me show you what happens. And one of these was sage and the other was called ground nut or something. I don't know. But look at this. This is a shirt that I did. I will open that up for you. And you can see this was just 2 dye powders. But you get quite a range of color. And it's actually, I think, a little different. Get a little bit different on the back. Maybe not. Maybe it's just the light here. But isn't that amazing? Look at all the colors that are in this. Can you see that? Just incredible. So I did that one for me. I did a second one for my daughter, which she can have after I've shown it to you. This had, I think, just 1 or 2 blues in it. So there's a little bit less variation in this one. But you can see, drop my paper again. You can see some of the yellowy greens that are also in this. So we have these pale blues and then these deep greenish blues in this. Isn't that gorgeous? I love this. It was so much fun. The hardest part was just letting it sit, because it has to sit for, I think it's at least 24 hours. And to some extent, it depends on ambient temperature, like how fast the ice melts. But anyway, it had to sit. I let it sit for about 48 hours and then rinsed it out. Rinsing it out takes a little while. There tends to be a lot of loose dye with this process. So rinsing it out took a while, but just super fun. The other thing I did, Jessica had for sale some yardage. So stuff that she had dyed on just fabric yardage. And I bought some, I think they're a yard each, and asked permission to make these into project bags. So hopefully in the next few weeks, I will have some bags made from this incredible fabric. I got one more. What do you think? Wouldn't you love a project bag made from one of these? Look at that. It's just stunning to me. Isn't that fantastic? So anyway, coming soon. And I don't know if I will be good enough to dye this as my own process for my shop, but I've got a good start here. I just think those are beautiful. Okay, the other class that I took, I'm trying to figure out which bag it's in. It's down here. Beginner Brioche. The teacher is Heidi Sunday, and she had us do 2-color brioche in the round. This is the first time brioche has truly clicked with me. I still need to weave in ends and block it. Look at that. I think it's a little wonky. But for a very first brioche project, I am pretty excited about it. And reversible. Isn't that fantastic? So doing 2 colors in the round means that you only have to learn the right side, but the 2 colors means that every brioche knit round is in 1 color. In my case, it was this kind of fuchsia. And every brioche purl round was in the gray. And that made a huge difference to me in being able to keep up with where I was. So let's see how it looks. What do you think? I had a great time. I have already asked her for suggestions for kind of next step brioche. I really want to learn how to do increases and decreases in brioche. I think the patterns that you get from that are absolutely beautiful. So that was an excellent class. That was beginning brioche with Heidi Sunday. I did that one Thursday afternoon. The ice dye class was first, and then the brioche class was in the afternoon. Truly had a great time in both classes. I have learned more in some classes than others, but I've never taken a class at SAFF that I didn't enjoy. Okay, that is actually my finished object. Yeah, that's the only finished object. Again, dropped to my paper. Yes, the shirts and my sock. Those are my finished objects. Let's talk about SAFF purchases. Let's go on to that while we're on SAFF. There's probably going to be some editing right around here because I am kind of going crazy. I may actually go back and add something in at the beginning, like Editing K will add a separate video, because I have a challenge to talk to you about. I'm so excited. Okay, so I told you about the shirts that I bought and the yardage that I bought. Let's talk about the other things. It's not a whole lot. I was directly across from the Leading in Fiber Art booth, and they had a like double or triple booth. So primarily that's what I was looking at the whole weekend. And I got to tell you, I almost always buy something from the booth across from me because I'm staring at what they have the whole weekend. So there was a blue that my daughter and I both noticed, but somebody snapped it up before we got it. I actually talked to the person later and I said, once you make something with it, please send me a picture because I want to see what it became. But their West End base, are discontinuing. And so there was a half price rack of West End yarn staring at me until Saturday. They sold out of that. They sold it off. So I was the one who got the last of it. And these two fabulous colors. This one is, I think it's Double Your Pleasure. Double Your Pleasure and worsted weight, non-superwash merino. So I'll have to be careful with that one. And I think this is Safety Dance. Janie and I both really liked this, so I don't know who's going to make what, but I think these actually look pretty fantastic together. I'll make a pretty good brioche project. What do you think? So if she wants them, she can have all of them, but we'll see. Okay, so that was my Leading in Fiber Art. I walked by the Miss Babs booth a few times, but I did not actually purchase, but I sent my husband over to get the 2022 SAFF colorway, which I actually found a bit surprising. It's very springy, like spring colors, but I think it's gorgeous. It's called Orchid Fantasia SAFF 2022. And I sent him over there. I said, just a fingering weight. And they're like, what's she going to make? And he's like, I don't know. Yeah, but we need to know what she's going to make. I'm like, no, you don't. You just sell me some fingering weight yarn. So what he bought was the 70-20-10 Superwash Merino Cashmere Nylon. 400 yards, 365 meters. Look at that. It feels amazing with the cashmere in it. So not sure yet what it's going to be, but probably a shawlette or something. It could be socks with the nylon, but I'm not sure I want to use that for that. We'll see. Or hat. That would make a pretty fantastic hat. So anyway, very pleased with that. That is my only, those are my only yarn purchases. And I think that's it. That's it for purchases at SAFF. Not a ton. I did cast on a thing to work on at SAFF, and it is special. I think I may have mentioned it last week, but who knows. It is a sock, Christmas socks, from my very last Gail's Art sock blank. She is doing other things now, but look how stunningly beautiful this is.
Oh my goodness. And because this is special, I will never have another one, I wanted what I make to be special. It's just a plain vanilla sock. But any of my friends who stopped by, or honestly just customers, anybody who wanted to, I asked them to knit on it a little bit. And so I have lots of lovely friends and memories knitted into the top of this sock. What I will probably do is run, maybe at the toe somewhere, a strand of a contrast color, just something that'll stand out so I'll know that this was the sock that everybody knit on, because while the socks may not match, I may ultimately forget which one was which, fairly likely. So I want to do something to mark which one is the one that my friends actually knit with me. Anyway, if I'm still working on these, if you run into me somewhere, let me know. You can knit a few stitches. So anyway, I thought that was special. This is in one of my Christmas bags that I made last year. Oh, there's something in there. My little Vlogmas notebook that I'm using for Vlogmas ideas. Glad I found that. Anyway, in one of the little Christmas bags I made last year. Oh, this was actually in one of my Christmas bags from last year too. This is the brioche cowl. I am considering casting on something. I say considering like I haven't decided for sure. Where did I put that? I think it's over there. Hang on. Nope, right here. This is part of the Curious Handmade knit vent. It's the first pattern. The color looks a little weird. My printer is not out of any color of ink, but it's printing weird. So this has got sort of a weirdish purpley cast to it. But anyway, you get the idea. It is the Anthology Throw. I posted about it on Instagram last night, and I think the one I clicked on like for different hashtags said Anthropology Throw. That is not correct. It is the Anthology Throw. And it is designed for 24 20-gram minis. So if you have an advent calendar with 20-gram minis, this is designed for that. However, there's at least one example already of, I think it was a test knit, using 5 full skeins. And I think that's what I want to do. I know myself, I will not keep up with knitting 20 grams of yarn per day in the month of December. If you think about it, that's a 100-gram skein every 5 days. If you're not terribly busy, that's not out of the question. But December tends to be a really busy month, and I just don't want the pressure of having to try to knit through 20 grams a day at a time when I'm already busy. Although I do really like how that looks with all the different colors in it. This is a giant pie shawl throw. It's going to be huge. Well, you can imagine 5 skeins of yarn almost. So given that I like the idea of knitting it in 5 colors, I went stash diving last night. Again, I posted on Instagram about it. I had found 2 options at the time. One is using sort of a fade kind of deal with colors from the Hypnotic Yarn Yarnable box subscription. I have 5 skeins from that. They're all the same base, of course, so that would work well. I like that. It goes from darker pinky colors, variegateds, to yellow green. So really fun colors. I think that would be a lot of fun to do. But because this is going to be such a big project, I want something that I am going to either wear, like fold it in half and wear it as a shawl, or put on my sofa downstairs with the colors that will look good in my living room, the colors that I use in my house. The other option I posted last night was from all the rest of them are my yarns. It was a range of yellow to sort of a pumpkin-y orange, which is great for this time of year. If I were starting this project in, say, August, that's what I would do, because that would look great to wear in the fall, as well as displayed just as a blanket in my family room. However, because I would be starting this the end of October, and who knows when I'll get it finished. I would like to have it finished before December, but I don't know. We'll see. I started looking at other options that I think would work year-round for me. Our church gets really cold. The vents, for some reason, near us, it just tends to get really cold, even in the summer. There is a woman and her daughter who usually sit behind us. They honestly will bring blankets sometimes to church because it gets so cold. So having a large shawl is excellent. And I find that one that I grab, particularly in the summer, it's not wool, but it is blue. So I wear that a lot. My house has a lot of blue in it, so I'm thinking maybe blue, a range of blues. The other possibility includes some purples, which I also like. So I'm going to put in pictures, so hopefully I will get these in the right order. The yarnable option, the yellow-orange option, the blue option, and the purple option. I'm very much at this point leaning toward the blue just because I think that's the one that I will use the most, and because this is a big project, I want it to be something that I will enjoy in all the different ways it can be enjoyed. So let me know what you think, and if it looks like it's pretty fun to knit. It's not complicated at all. I don't think. The hardest part for me is going to be casting on in a circle. I've never done that before. There are a couple of good tutorials. Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade, the designer, has done a video. I think it's on YouTube. I think she's done one of the cast on to use. There's another one from, I think it's Yumi Yarn on Instagram. She had a tutorial as well. We actually chatted about this project some yesterday, just going back and forth on Instagram. So there are a couple of tutorials for how to do that. I don't think it's going to be terribly complicated, but it is a new skill to learn. So that is the Anthology Throw by Helen Stewart, the first project in Knit Bent. Just throwing stuff on the floor like you do. All right, let's talk about fair entries. So the South Carolina State Fair it actually overlapped SAFF this time. I had to hurry back from SAFF. I say hurry. We came back on Monday, and then Tuesday I had to go out and pick up our fair entries because that was the last day. So, but I did get everything picked up. Let's talk about what I entered. I entered 2 pairs of socks. Plain, got a first for that one. Plain vanilla, nicely blocked because you need to be fancy like that for the fair. This yarn, I had to look it up. I knew I bought it at the Frayed Knot in Savannah, Georgia, but I couldn't remember the dyer, but it's Moss Fibers. Hand-dyed Savannah. It is an MCN base. See that? Merino cashmere nylon, and the Frayed Knot is the colorway at the Frayed Knot. Oh, is that focusing? My eyes aren't focusing. So anyway, really got a good bit of that left actually. So first premium for that. Yeehaw. The other socks are Lavender Fields. Again, every patterned thing I entered was a Curious Handmade pattern. First premium for that, for the lavender socks. This yarn is just a cascade. I think I even got it as a door prize somewhere. The modifications I made were that it was 2 patterned to here, but I only did 3 repeats of this lace instead of 4. And then I think I cut this section in half, so they're shorter than the pattern calls for. Again, nicely blocked, because that's what you do for the fair. Probably would have blocked the lace ones anyway. What's next? Oh, the Meet Cute Mitts. It's a little harder to see because the yarn is dark. This is yarn, I think it's a Barocco yarn, and I'm not even sure, it may have been discontinued. I had bought it for a cardigan that I ended up frogging. So I used a little bit of it for this. also blocked. I need to get mitten blockers. What you think? Just because. Very excited to have these. Knitting mitts is that's my daughter Janie's thing. She likes knitting mitts. She actually had a guy at church who's a friend of our son ask her, said, would you knit me a pair of mitts? He said, I'll pay you. And I'm sure he would, but she's like, he's my friend. I would do that for him. Okay. So I don't want to compete too much with Janie for her thing. This is the Miss May shawl. This was the Curious Handmade mystery knit along this year. The first for that one. And I will tell you that I think one of the reasons some of my stuff did better is because there's one person who is a brilliant knitter in Columbia. She did not enter anything this year. I actually talked to her at SAFF. Kim, I think she's a bad knitter on Ravelry and something else on Instagram, Tappa something. Anyway, we laughed that I did better because she didn't enter anything, because she always just blows everybody out of the water. But anyway, this is the one that I was working on last year that the first part of it looked like Neapolitan ice cream. I think the purple tones that down a little bit. I think this one will be fun for spring. Those are nice spring colors. Okay, the rest is not knitting. We'll go through that pretty quick. It's a pillow, nothing pinned on this one. This one also got a first place. So it's a quilt square, the maple leaf pattern, made into an envelope style pillow cover. Not perfect, but not too bad. If you're a quilter, don't call the quilt police, please. So that one. And then the other two things are jellies. This one was a second place. This is my pepper jelly. It should have been a little clearer. It probably would have done better if it had been completely like crystal clear. It'll still taste fine. It's just not as clear as I would have liked. And this one, it was the first place for my muscadine. These grow wild around here. It's a wild grape. And I remember picking them as a child growing up. So got a nice collection of ribbons to hang up. What I will do, they don't write on them. They just kind of hand you the ribbon. So I can write on the back what they were for. And I have a little thing over there just for me to see where I hang up any fair ribbons over the years. Okay, one other thing I want to tell you about. I'll move some of this stuff back to its little basket so I can take them and put them away. It's a book that was suggested to me by my friend Bethany. I see Bethany occasionally at the fair. She was actually one of the intake people at the fair in years past. She wasn't there this year, but then we've talked at SAFF and just kind of chatted back and forth over the years. But she told me not too long ago about an audiobook that she believes that this, in her opinion, it is the most beautiful book written in the English language. It is by J.A. Baker, and the book is called The Peregrine, like the bird, the peregrine. And it is literally a nature, it's almost like a documentary about a peregrine. And you're thinking, I don't know, I mean, that's nice, but no, it is incredible. I'm listening to the audiobook. I'm about an hour, hour and a half in, maybe something like that. It is read by David Attenborough. David Attenborough reads the audiobook. And just the first part, if you only listen to the first probably 30-ish minutes, it is incredible. I thought, do I care that much about peregrines? The answer is yes. Yes, I want to know everything about peregrines now. I feel like I need to listen to this several times to really appreciate the richness of it. But it's just beautiful descriptions of the life of a peregrine, the habits of a peregrine. So many things that I had no idea I would care about. Even the fact that it's a predator and its habits in that sense, you would think, oh, I don't think I want to hear that. It's beautifully written. So if you can find a copy of The Peregrine, read it. But I highly recommend the audiobook. It is just beautiful to listen to this. And it's David Attenborough, so you know it's going to be good. He could read the phone book, right? So anyway, The Peregrine by, double check, J.A. Baker. It's available through Audible. I don't have an Audible subscription. I never have, but you can purchase individual books through Audible if you didn't already know that. So that's what I did with this one, and I'm looking forward to listening to that. I probably will get some time actually while I am in Nebraska. Okay, I'm gonna stop this video and I am going to record some information about the challenge. I'm probably gonna put that back at the beginning. So I will say goodbye now. Let's do that. I'll say goodbye now, and then we'll see the rest of the video in reverse order. All right, everybody, it has been so good to visit with you. I will chat with you again, possibly from Nebraska. I'm going to try to record while I'm in Nebraska and maybe show you some progress on some projects. So I hope you're having a great week, and I will chat with you again. I think it'll be November next time we talk. Take care, everybody.